wrestling is never going to stop. You just got to accept it now, even though the world is burning and everything's going bad. Professional wrestling is like, we must continue. And I just want to say thank you very much, professional wrestling, because you are now able to distract me a few times a week, even more so because I'm trapped in between these four walls and they're just closing in on me like that scene in the first Star Wars movie. But it also means we can take this, the finger of power, and go through wrestling shows left, right, and center and give the good bits an up and the bad bits a down. And because it is All Elite Wrestling Dynamite, when I give something a down, everyone in the comments will go, "Simon, you're so biased." But that's okay, you're allowed your opinion, and I love you. Let's up those downs for AEW Dynamite. Dynamite this week started with a Jake Roberts promo, and you already know how this goes. You sit there on your couch, and no matter what words come out of Mr. Roberts' mouth, you're a bit like, oh my gosh, maybe he's going to reach through the screen and kill me, because I believe every single word he's saying. Jake Roberts are getting up, but don't give it up. He may kill me. His message was pretty simple in the sense that he thinks Cody will accidentally on purpose lose his match later in the TNT Championship tournament against Shawn Spears just so he doesn't have to face Lance Archer down the line. He even called Cody a mouse at one point, and if anybody else in a promo had used the word mouse, I would have laughed like, a mouse, who cares about a mouse? Jake Roberts does it, and I start looking around my house like maybe I'm about to die because of a giant mouse. Got this death that Jake Roberts brings upon my brain. He's just so good at talking. And it tied into another match with Lance Archer where he came out and just destroyed this poor man. I think his name was Alan Angels. It doesn't even matter. We were not meant to care about him. He threw him around like he was a piece of garbage. He did this choke slam hurl at one point, and like last week, the guy just sailed through the air, and you thought maybe he's not going to stop. He'll crash through the wall and he'll end up on Mars. And then what are we going to do? Who's going to Mars? He won with the blackout, and let's face it, it's been a pretty decent couple of weeks for Lance Archer. He is just crushing fools in his wake. Give him it up. And we'll just do it here because we got to put the praise down somewhere. But a quick shout out and a salute to Chris Jericho and Tony Schiavone, who were absolutely brilliant on commentary this evening. I would go as far to say, that's right, I'm going to say it, everybody calm down, that this was the best good guy to bad guy announce team that we have probably seen in professional wrestling in the last, 15 years? Chris Jericho was hilarious. Tony Schiavone was the perfect fall for all the nonsense that Le Champion was saying. These two are getting it up. And I also want to say thank you very much. You made me laugh at least 17.2 times. If you can make me laugh 17.2 times, as I've just established, you get it up. And Britt Baker was here. She didn't get any mic time at this point, but she does later on, so it was all okay. And she was taking on Shida, and this was not only one of the best women's matches I've seen in AEW, but it's one of the best Britt Baker matches I've seen in AEW, and that made me feel like peaches and cream, and therefore it gets it up. And they beat the hell out of each other to the point that Britt Baker's face was all bloody at one point. Chris Jericho loved that. He's like, look at the face, look at the face. And she was also able to get the other hand by being a dirty cheat, because she is a heel and she is a dick. Unfortunately, that did then come round and kick her in her ass, because as she was showboating, Shida was able to get back in control. She hit the Shining Wizard, smashed her right in the face. Shida gets the 1, 2, 3 and remains, don't forget this, remains the #1 contender. We also got our first taste of ridiculousness on this episode of Dynamite, and I'm sure it divided people down the middle, but that's okay. That's what we're here to do, to discuss it, because Michael Nakazawa and Kenny Omega were having a little chat in the back because they've got a tag team match coming up in a few minutes, and they thought, hey, we are best friends. Why don't we call ourselves the Best Friends? And then who came in the ring? Of course, it was the real Best Friends. They were like, oh, right, so you think you're better best friends than us, do ya? I mean, that is the stupidest thing you ever heard in your life, but it was great. As it then transpired, whoever won in their tag team match later was going to get the rights to the name Best Friends. And yes, that is as dumb as when Edge and Booker T fought over a Japanese shampoo commercial. But again, if you watch my shows, you know this. I'm an absolute goof, and therefore, when other people do goofy stuff, it gets a thumb from me. We also had a cool video focusing on the AEW rankings and where everybody is at the moment. And maybe I missed it or just forgot because I'm dumb, but I don't think All Elite Wrestling has ever done this before. And I would implore you, AEW, to maybe do this once or twice a month, it was really nice catch-up. And if you're brand new to the program, you kind of got a little flavour of where you should invest your time. I don't know what I'm doing. We also got a video package after that for Jon Moxley versus Jake Hager, and AEW has done a great job in making me invested in this feud. It was just Jon Moxley going, it's going to be a fight, man. It's going to be a war. And Jake Hager going, I'm also an MMA guy. I'm going to choke him out. But I want to see it. That's what promotional videos should do. It was then Omega and his friend Mike taking on the Best Friends. And look, I get it. Some of you are going to have loved this. Some of you are going to be like, what is going on? Why is Nakazawa just pouring baby all over himself the whole time? But that's his shtick. That's his gimmick. Like Orange Cassidy with the glasses, who of course was at ringside, or anybody else that has somewhat of a silly persona. I happen right now to be in search of ridiculousness. Look at me swimming through the lake of ridiculousness. So I was alright with it. It can get it up. Also, they were warring over the rights to the name The Best Friends, so you couldn't take it too seriously. But I will say this. Did it go a little bit too long? Yes, it did. Did some of the comedy spots maybe outstay their welcome? Yes. And was there maybe just a little bit too much baby oil? I would agree with all of that. But look, every wrestling company out right now is trying to find a way to elongate their shows so they don't have that much content. Still had Kenny Omega in it, still had Tent Chuck, Orange Cassidy, Michael Nakazawa, what more do you want? Obviously Cassidy was in there at one point to do the ha-ha with Michael Nakazawa, and I always do enjoy it when people try to chop him and he just puts the oil on and their hand scrimps right off. Unfortunately for him, he was always going to take the fall here. He got hit by the ground zero. The Best Friend wins. Because of that, they're still the best friends. So if you're out there with a best friend and you think you two are the best friends, you nothing. And let's just call a spade a spade. You can forget about this now. Look, take it out of your head and throw it over there, and nothing has changed in the world. That's what this was. It was just a way to showcase a few guys as Chris Jericho made a bunch of jokes and you enjoyed, 15 to 18 to 20 minutes of television. Don't overthink it. There was another Brodie Lee sketch after this, and of course, once more, it was taking a few shots at Vince McMahon, although I have another theory, which we'll talk about in just 1 second. But here, he had a few minions, one of which was dressed very nicely, and the other two were dressed like schlubs. Because of that, though, quite ironically, Brodie Lee gave them a dressing down and said, perception is a reality, and what kind of reality do you want to be when you're walking through an airport? And if you know anything about the Vince McMahon isms that we've learned over the years, that is something he says to his performers. You should look like superstars when you're walking through airports, so people turn their heads and look. But I like this character. I think he's quite layered. I think he's got depth. I like Brodie Lee, Luke Harper, whatever the hell you want to call him. And again, as I keep saying, even if you don't know this is a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge to WWE, he just comes across like a cult leader psychopath. But look, if you really want to get into this, maybe the reason Brodie Lee is acting this way is because he's only known one leader in his life. That person's name was Vince McMahon, and now he has become the thing that he hates. Suck on that one. That's a bit much. Rewind that. Just love and hugs. Then we got the Britt Baker promo, which made me smile in my stomach. She was all pissed off because she was all bloody and called Shida unclean. I want more of that. Call her dirty, call her uncouth, call her a heathen, all these stupid words that nobody uses anymore. I enjoy muchly. Baker was also worried at one point that Shida was going to break her own teeth, but then was like, it wouldn't even have mattered because I'm a dentist and I could have fixed them. But look, Britt, I like you a lot. That'd be a terrible idea. Don't try and fix your own teeth. That's like tattoo people that try and tattoo themselves. They go, it's meant to be a smiley face, and it looks like a cow. Just don't do it. We then got another Jon Moxley versus Jake Hager video, and I audibly went, I thought I must have accidentally hit my computer and gone back 20 minutes, because this was almost exactly the same as the one that we saw before. It's still very good, and the production of it was excellent, but honestly, it was Jake Hager and Jake Hager's wife going, I'm an MMA guy, I'm a wrestler, I'm going to the title. And Jon Moxley going, I'm going to beat him up so bad, he's not going to. It was really strange, this. It was really strange. One would have been fine, or you could have just merged these two things together. That's my 2 cents. But then Matt Hardy went full-on broken in the world of AEW, and it's another segment I've already seen online is getting some people to just whip their pants off and cheer, and other people to put their pants on and go, I'm not going to have any fun anymore. But I think you already know what I'm going to do with this. It's getting it up. All you really need to know is that Hardy is still the master of taking names and making them so unbelievably daft. Like, he was called the inner circle here, the circle that is internal. The man is a genius. I never thought he'd be able to top the Bucks of Youth, but that was years ago, and he's still just dishing them out. Hardy then continued to run through the rest of the group and finished it by saying, Chris Jericho, I want to face you in a, elite deletion match. Basically welcomed him, invited him to the Hardy compound, and I think at that moment, my hair all fell out, which is why I stand here as a bald asshole right now today, because after all this cinematic stuff we got over the weekend with WrestleMania 36, I am so up for Matt Hardy going back to his own well and doing it again, especially with somebody like Chris Jericho. Do you know how good that's going to be? Do you know how stupid that is going to be? Turn on my stupid gland. I am ready to accept this into my life. Brodie Lee also then squashed some jobber. This was fine. It gets over Brodie Lee as a monster, as we are doing with Lance Archer. I can't even remember the guy's name. Something Johnson, John Johnson, Pineapple Pete. No, someone else. Chris Jericho, how you doing? And yeah, he hit him with a discus lariat, and he smashed him so hard, I'm amazed this guy's head didn't come off. Like, if we had known about the discus lariat back in medieval times, that is probably what we'd have used to decapitate criminals as opposed to the knife thing. I now can't remember the name of. Anyway, Brodie Lee wins. He's really good. He's really cool. He's going to be a star. And then our main event was the first match in the TNT Championship tournament that was between Cody and Shawn Spears. And I thought it was delicious. That's right, I said delicious. That we had some history between these two that we could play off. Give it up. It was just a solid wrestling match, to be honest, because Cody was in control at one point until he missed a moonsault, and then Shawn Spears took over until he missed, I think it was a frog splash. It was just a decent back and forth. Someone threw one punch and then someone threw a punch right back. You know how it goes. And yeah, the weight belt got involved, and at one point Shawn Spears just took Cody and chucked him through a table that he had set up by ringside. But I listened to your feedback. I've heard what you've said and you don't care about this. You compare it to New Japan, which is a very fair point, when it's up to the referee and their discretion. Maybe All Elite Wrestling could make a bigger song and dance about this, because I get inundated every time they did. I don't know. I don't book AEW, but I've mentioned it. Onwards we go. It was quite cool though, because it did lead to a very close count-out spot where you're like, oh my gosh, Cody's going to lose. And then Cody hits Shawn Spears with two crossroads. And let's play a little quiz. 1, did Shawn Spears lose? 1, 2, 3. Or 2, did Shawn Spears kid out at the count of 2 and surprise everybody? It's that one. Now this has been going on for a while with Cody, but now I'm actually starting to think it's becoming a bit detrimental. Like, I kind of get the idea of hitting somebody with your finishing move more than once because it's so devastating. You want to really give it to your enemy and your opponent be like, I kicked your ass. But now he's doing it to people, and it's not keeping people down. So, you know, when you're a big babyface and you're a big star, you need that out-of-nowhere move, and this was out of nowhere too, because Shawn Spears was going for the C4, and Cody reversed it into the crossroads. It looked really good, and as a fan, I popped for that, like, oh! So I was ready for it to be the finish, and I could handle a second one, because again, Cody, aggression, and then when Shawn Spears kicked out, I didn't really react in the way I was meant to. Again, I kind of went, oh, okay, that's a little bit of a shame. I was ready to cheer. So I kind of think we're going in the wrong direction with the crossroads, and because of that, it's getting it down. And yes, I'll be you, there's such a weak down time. Well, look, it's my show. That's what I felt when I was making my notes. I felt like if I didn't give it a down, I wouldn't be being true to myself. Damn it, I'm an honest and transparent person. Cody did win the match though, and I like the creative finish. He locked in the figure 4, which the commentators were going like, oh, Dusty Rhodes used to do this, which I thought was a nice touch. And Shawn Spears was in so much pain, his shoulders fell onto the mat, and the referee counted the 1, 2, 3. He is out of the tournament, and Cody is moving on to the semi-finals. I also got a kick out of it because you could argue this was Cody doing exactly what Jake Roberts said he was going to do, you know, not really stamping his authority on things, and that was a cool callback to that. And you've got to imagine the finals of this is going to be Cody versus Lance Archer, and then what's going to happen? I'm intrigued, I'm ready, good booking all around. Which brought this week's episode of Dynamite to an end, and yes, this is the first one in a while that felt like we kind of need to stretch stuff out because we're trying to film content amid the world doing whatever the hell the world is doing. But that wasn't a bad show. We still got there, I still had fun, therefore it gets an up, but I do appreciate that this was one you probably could have missed and not much would have changed. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about AEW Dynamite and call me a dick. I know how it works. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, then head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon for WhatCulture. Thank you very much for joining me, and if you are interested, I'll see your lovely faces again Saturday when we up those downs for Smackadown.